Greece. We had stopped in Greece to have a look at the broken statues and things like this. Why people go there, I don't know. But got involved in London for a day because it was the Jubilee of
Queen Elizabeth,
whatever.
Queen Elizabeth, 1977.
Yeah.
The 25th anniversary of
And
the
so
coronation.
it was during this trip, this sort of thing. It just happened to be at that time, so it was quite good. But it was a place where Germany. We went in there. We stayed in the Black Forest. We had some of that Black Forest cake that they have there. It was quite a nice place.
So Paris to Washington DC on an Air France Concorde or BA? Obviously Air France.
It was on Air France.
Okay. What was it like?
Well, would you believe it if I said that I sat down and had a look around. I saw the Mach meter at the front of the place telling you what your speed we were doing, and I lapsed then into a deep sleep. And when I woke up, we were on approach to Washington, and this woman who was sitting across the next aisle to me, she said, "I cannot believe that you went to sleep on a Concorde flight. This is not possible."
I don't think anyone watching this video in years to come can believe you slept on the Concorde.
But it was 3.5 hours. You get there before you left, sort of thing, and it was quite something. It was nice, but as I say, I missed a couple of hours or so because.
And did you have? Is it noisy? Is it comfortable? Is it?
It was never noisy. We were about on row 5 or something like that. Really, there was very little noise.
Sure.
Very little.
The engines are a long way back.
They are a long way back, and was quite interesting.
Given your experience of flying in Vulcans and helicopters, maybe you were just blasé about it, maybe just a bit tired. That's why you slept all the way.
I think I was tired for sure. We'd probably been out in the town the night before.
I was going to suggest that, having some Parisian entertainment.
Yeah. We were in the airport hotel. We didn't want to go far. I was able to arrange my trips and point myself in the right direction to meet up with Roy, and I think initially, because of the way Barbara had treated letters, I didn't move very quickly in relation to that because I thought, okay, possibly get Roy, but not Barbara. Anyway.
So you're able to see him a number of times over the years, every year or something like that?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't every year because you don't always go in the right direction.
Sure.
But we did get together in all the different places they stayed in. They moved around a lot.
Right.
And so I was able to, if you like, catch up with them as they went around.
Okay.
With these different houses.
What did you think about being so far away from your firstborn son? You know, must have been hard, or you were engrossed in life, and Roy, you know, growing up, I mean, it must have been hard for him as well. And
certainly not hard.
Yeah.
You're catching up with someone that's dear to you. It's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
The hard thing would have been if you had to stay there and someone goes away.
Yeah.
But I would imagine it would have been about 3 times over a period of 3 years.
Okay.
And I couldn't judge any more at this stage.
And when you caught up with him earlier in the tape, you spoke some German. When you'd catch up with him, would you speak to him in German or English?
He spoke German all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not the fact that he did it consciously, but I think he was always thinking about his work, and his work is involved in, in German, so the German language comes into play. Farmland, the village, to catch up with Dad, and he was always quite fit. He used to walk to the newspaper shop to get paper, and used to go out for a drink now and again. But then all of a sudden he died. It was natural causes. It was just old age. He'd worked all his life and not had a holiday, anything like that. And we lost him 1987, I think. That would be about right.
I think Peter and I off in the army on Air Force by then, so I recall that it was there. And he never came to Australia, and
he never came to Australia. No.
Did he ever go overseas at all? Might have gone to Germany.
He didn't know.
Right.
He wouldn't have had sixpence to his name.
Wow.
The whole time it was work and play, and the play was just a beer down the local, and he was back to work, sort of thing.
And a game of pool with some of his mates or something, or
no, we never used to have pool in the
didn't you?
At that stage.
Was it the Otter? Wasn't it the local? Was it the Otter or something?
No,
what's the pub called? The local in Farndon, the local pub.
Farndon, that was the Britannia.
Britannia. I've had a drink there with John. It might have been.
It would have been, John. Yeah, they were
John and Chris. I remember
100 metres away from the pub.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
So you saw your dad as often as you could when you're in the UK, and John, because they were fairly close together.
Yeah. No, in relation to Dad, I caught up with him. I went to see him. He was in hospital in Newark, and if you like, waiting to die.
Right. Yep.
No, there was nothing wrong with him apart from old age.
Sure.
But he was waiting to die, and he said to me, and I've always regretted this, that he said, "I'd like to fly before I die." And of course, I was probably moving on the next day, so I couldn't do anything about it, and nothing transpired to fit me up with him at a time suitable to both, and so I never did get to show him how to fly, because I would have flown him myself rather than than anything else.
Maybe if he'd gone on Concorde, he would have stayed awake. Your older sister June and Tom, they were down in Somerset South, so did you had to duck up to Nottinghamshire to see your dad, and John, then south to see June, or
you have a car, you can go anywhere at all.
But you had to go north to see one and south to see the other.
True.
Yeah.
But organise it the best of the ability.
Yeah.
John worked in the same company as my father, which was a ball bearing company.
Yeah.
And my mother also worked there. She did that, and she worked several places.
Yeah.
She was.
What?
She was fantastic in way of getting around when she was so ill.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, fortunately, it was a pretty good one. It was very short and not very broad.
Right.
But in the early days, we used to go down to, if I was at home on leave from the Air Force,
yes,
I would take him down. I would drive him down to the local pub where we would have a drink.
Yep.
And John was not too far away.
Yes.
So he joined into that thing, and we used to play dominoes.
Ah, okay. Dominoes was your game at the pub.
That was right. We played dominoes.
Okay.
And really, I enjoyed it. It was part of my life.
Sure. Yeah.
And
talk to us about your love affair with cars back when you were younger.
It was in Germany, actually.
Germany, yeah, right.
Germany more than the UK. And I was so stupid that I never got out of a car. You know, it was something that I had to have. I had to be involved with. But everything was wrong.
What sort of cars were you buying?
If I'd had a father who had talked to me about things, and I remember talking to you and Peter about this, the cars that I had was all Opel.
Opel,
Which
German.
was the General Motors.
German General Motors, yeah.
And the first one I had over there, well, first of all, I saw this, it was in the window, this magnificent, shining car. And I went in and said, how much is it, and this, that, and the other. And obviously they know everything involved in, because people on the base used to report back to them. And the first one was this Opel Capitan. Was a 1970 or something like that. I can't remember.
Earlier than that.
But it was earlier, yeah.
Yeah, a lot earlier than that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And after that one, I was on the same base, and I saw this one was 2 steps higher. Still Opel Capitan, big motor and everything else about it. And I talked to this guy who was looking to buy my car, and then I could have got this other one. But all I was doing was pouring money into somebody else's pocket, because, you know, it was more expensive to run and so on. And then I had the next one, was about 1966. That's better. 1966. 1966. This Opel Capitan was a dark colour with white wheels, white tyres, and then the wheels.
Yep.
And again, an expensive car.
So were you paying cash for these cars, or you were getting money from the bank?
All on
purchase.
Yeah.
All right, and so you kept 3 or 4 cars a year. You just kept changing or something.
Virtually, yeah. If I put it down on paper, that's probably what it would show.
Pretty embarrassing.
But if I'd had a father,
yeah,
who had said to me, anything they pay you, if you put half of it away, and the other half you spend as you wish.
Yeah.
And that would have saved me from hell.
But you know, in defence of your father, you had flown the coop. You know, he wasn't.
Of course, but
you can't blame your dad.
he wouldn't have known anything about this anyway.
Yeah.
There was no way his
sure.
sort of talk about.
Did he ever own a car? He would never have owned a car, did he?
No.
Right. Okay.
Didn't even have a bike.
Right. So did you drive the car back from Germany to the UK and take
always,
everyone?
Always.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, must have done that 5 times.
All right.
Went to
Calais and chucked it on the.
Yeah, it wasn't Calais. I think it was Rotterdam.
Right. Okay.
But one of the cars, and it may have been the Rotterdam one. One of the cars, I drove up to the port, and I was going to leave the car on the front and jump on the ship and go. Now, anybody with any sense would never do that. Leave a car sitting on the
wharf.
Yeah. And it must have been for 2 years or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that it was sitting there. And I did have the idea to take off the
distributor cap.
Distributor cap.
Yeah.
I did have the gumption to actually take that just in case somebody wanted to
steal it.
But other than that, I was so stupid. I would think everybody would get out of my way, and
was it still there when you got back?
It was still there.
All right.
And now you see, I mean, I'm not interested in cars anymore.
Well, I remember you having my earliest recollections of your cars were Ford Falcons and Fairlanes in the mid '70s here, and you had this nice two-door Falcon or Fairmont coupe. It was banana yellow with a 302 T-bar. I thought it was the greatest car in the world. And then you had another Ford Fairlane 500. Which I talking to Adam last night. He recalls that, a nice blue. But I recall you saying they were both they were both duds, and you had problems, and you ended up going to Japanese once you got company cars with AES.
Yeah.
You had a couple of duds, didn't you?
That's right.
Yeah. Germany, and you got married to my mum, Laureen.
Yeah.
And of course, she already had myself and Peter, who's 2 years younger than me. So you adopted us. And all of a sudden, you're a new dad yet again. And then you and Mum had a little boy. And tell us about Adam and how, obviously, and how all of a sudden you got 3 boys and you're travelling around the world. And how did all that work?
Yeah, it's strange, some of the things that happen. But with a family unit, you need to be very in a controlled situation. You can't just leave things to chance. But while we returned from Australia to Perth to just the UK, we decided to get married. Lauren getting pregnant.
Yep.
And we have a Nocton Hall was the name of the hospital, RAF hospital in Lincolnshire. And she had to go in hospital in Nocton Hall for the baby to be produced. Didn't take very long, and at that time, I think it was when I was going over to Trinidad, and therefore I didn't spend any time initially. I'm not sure.
No, I think you're getting a bit muddled up. So Adam was born in Australia, not the UK. I think you're talking about Roy.
It's Roy.
Yeah. So that's how Roy came about, because you were still in the RAF with Barbara.
That's right.
So that's Roy, and apologies to Adam on the tape. So, but all right, let's move on from that, because obviously you're getting a little bit muddled up there. But well, my recollections, which might trigger some of yours, is you're. To me, I knew you travelled, but I never had the sense that you weren't there. I never felt that I missed out or anything. It's kind of weird, I hear all these travel stories, and I was aware you travelled, and of course a lot of it probably was after I left to go to the army, maybe the bulk of it. But I always remember you encouraging us with soccer or cricket or whatever sport we wanted to play, and always cheering us on from the sideline, whether it be for Morley Windmills or Sorrento. And I think Peter and Adam would say, well, probably more so Peter, because the period in South Africa where Adam was a little bit here by himself with whatever. So do you remember those days about soccer and traipsing around soccer grounds?
And it was not Morley, it had a different name for it.
No, we were at Morley Windmills.
Morley Windmills, yeah.
Initially, because we lived in Morley, and then we moved here into this house in '76.
And then you had to start
Sorrento.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I can remember, but not very vividly.
Right. I remember, this is some memories, might trigger something, is that you said to us, Peter and I, that every time we scored a goal, you would give us $1. Right, and I played right wing. I wasn't very good, but I had a lot of good players around me, so occasionally I slotted a sneaky goal. and I'd always run to the sideline and go, "You owe me $1, Dad." So they're my sort of.
I don't remember that actually, but I do remember having to drive backwards and forwards.
All over the place.
Yeah.
And the other thing you might remember, and I was only talking to Adam last night about it, was you always took us to see when international sides came to Perth to play. Like you might use from the Perry Lake Stadium.
Yeah.
So I remember, and I was saying last night that Manchester United came. We saw them. Chelsea came. Moscow Dynamo came, and you always took us to all those games. And do you know who went with us to those games? Would Bruno, would it?
Yeah.
All right, so that's a nice segue.
Bruno
Besta.
Yeah.
So Bruno Besta brings us to another. The biggest love of your life is probably golf. Tell us about your journey with golf. Came to Australia, and that's where you really fell in love with the game, and Bruno Besta was a big part of that. Talk to us about golf.
Golf, it's a funny game because you're trying to hit a ball the whole time. It's only a small one as well. However, it is widely used, the ball for golf. And I started playing, I guess, probably the year that I came out of...
Yeah, it would have been early 70s. You started playing at Rose Hill, I imagine, or Embleton, or public courses around
Embleton, a couple of games.
Rose Hill.
Rose Hill. Yeah, around there.
Yeah.
And it was something that I enjoyed. We had a lot of friends at that time because we were 60 of us and involved in the nuclear testing up at Pierce. So there was always someone either playing golf, water skiing, something else. And it was just another part of life itself. It didn't indicate that there was nothing to do or anything like that.
Sure.
Plenty to do if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
And
how did you? So you started off playing public courses with mates and work colleagues and that, and then how did you get into Mount Lawley, which you've only recently retired from? How did you get into Mount Lawley?
Mount Lawley was very close to
home,
AES
and home, initially
office and that, and I did a lot of practice golf. I think to be sort of correct, I did a lot of practice down at Mount Lawley before I even joined Mount Lawley itself. I had no knowledge of golf prior to that, but I then found I could hit the ball for a starter, and I played a couple of games. In one game I had to play and put my card in so that they could see what I'd done. And with the guy that I was paired with, everything went okay. And I started practicing because I wanted to improve my golf. And so I took to a strict regime in relation to playing golf. And that was to practice as much as possible and see what comes out of it. So I played a lot of gold at Mount Lawley. A lot of gold. Gold, Mount Lawley. Where's the gold come from?
It's getting late.
So I
I
enjoyed my time at Mount Lawley. There was a whole 41 years of golf that took me. I played golf in various places around the world with my marketing that it was another sphere of my life, and it's one that I enjoyed.
Tell us about how good you were at golf. What handicap did you get down to, and what big tournaments did you win?
I would say that if someone said, well, you definitely asked the question, how good were you? I would say not even good enough to play golf on the course, because
well, that's a lie.
I was not a very good golfer. I practiced and practiced for hours and hours, morning, noon and night, but I never got higher than a handicap of 8.
And 8, for people who are listening in the future, is a very good hand. Anyone who gets on single figures is, well, I never got on single figures, and I probably never will. And you won some big tournaments at Mount Lawley, famously do you want to tell people what event you won? And can you remember the year? I remember the year. I caddied for you, I think.
You probably did. But yes, this was a trophy donor day, and the trophy being Mount Lawley Classic.
Yeah, probably one of the biggest events on the calendar at Mount Lawley.
I would agree with that, it would be that way.
Yeah. Can you remember the year? You remember the year?
Do I remember the year?
Yeah.
Yes. It was 87.
I would have thought it was 82 or 83, but you were there.
Oh, well, look, yeah.
Anyway, in the 80s, and of course, your name's still up on the board, and in years to come, people will see Kay Gibson.
Yeah.
And of course, you encouraged Peter and Adam and I, and of course Roy and Ken, and even the best golfers out of all of your siblings, and Peter and I and Adam are probably hacks compared to those two. So, but you played golf all around the world, as you mentioned. You and I have played golf on the east coast of Australia, and you've played golf with Ken and Roy and Adam in Thailand.
Yeah.
What's the best course in the world you played, do you think? Your favourite or memorable?
Wow.
Or the most famous? You might have played some famous courses we thought, that's not as good as I've thought or seen on telly. You played Pebble Beach, didn't you?
I played Pebble Beach, didn't like it. I thought it was a bit rough, Pebble Beach. I would say that probably the Black Mountain in Thailand.
Okay. Right.
I have better memories of that, so I must have been winning.
Not often you lost, just quietly.
But yeah, there was lots of golf courses over there, and the Black Mountain was, I think, the favourite of everybody.
Black Mountain in Thailand, which obviously you discovered later in your golfing career, because it was only in the last 10 or... Yeah, so... Yeah. And that's a resort course, it's not a...
It is resort course.
Okay. What other... Did you play any other famous courses that people might know? You know, in the UK, St Andrews, Carnoustie, Birkdale, Akron in...
I don't think I played in the UK, did I?
You probably did at some point. And what about in the US?
Oh, I did, yeah, because I played with Tom.
Oh, yeah, the local.
We went to the local course and played there.
All right.
I was able to talk to Linda through her bringing a car back from the customs department where she was working, and with talking to her, she didn't seem to be of any interest, but I said, here's my business card, give me a ring when you'd like to have dinner one night. But that never occurred.
Oh.
She just wiped me off the ground.
Boom.
And I was there no more. So I had to go looking for her.
Wow.
And so I went around the customs department and talked to a couple of people. Eventually got this phone call. And from that phone call, we started playing squash just around the corner from AAS. We had that. And we got on quite well, so I think somehow at that stage somebody mentioned marriage, and I ran away, and no, not true. And so we carried on playing squash. Obviously went out to lunch, dinner, whatever. And eventually she took on 3 boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And probably took on me as well.
And I'll just remind you, of course, your wedding happened under slightly different, because back in the day there was a waiting period. You had to apply to get married, and there was a waiting period.
There was, yes.
And I'll just to get you rolling on it. And I was still living at home then before I went off to the army, and Linda's parents, who were Nancy and Harold, who were obviously long past, were leaving to go back to the UK on a certain date, and I think it wasn't going to marry up. They had to go back before this waiting period for your marriage expired. What steps did you take and what was the outcome there?
What happened was it was necessary to provide 28 days notice of getting married.
Yes.
And as you said, Linda's parents were there on the final day before we were due to go, and I had to go to this particular office with a sob story that I was letting my wife down with arranging something without knowing about it, and it probably got a rap over the knuckles sort of thing. But we had not an email, but not a fax either. What's
telex.
The one before a fax?
Telex.
Telex, yeah, that's right.
Or a telegram.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah. And it's lost me now. What we were talking.
So, effectively, you had to get special dispensation to circumvent, to shorten the waiting period.
We had the reception on the front lawn here. We had the food and drink that way, and I think you had control of the bar.
I'm impressed. Do you remember who your best man was? Big fella. Started with T.
Big fella with T.
Started with T. Wasn't he your best man? Ted.
Sorry?
Ted Barrington, wasn't he?
Ted Barrington? Really?
He was your best man.
Would you believe it? I'd forgotten about it. I would never have
guessed that. It was a long time ago, 37 years ago. And do you remember who Linda's maid of honour, or whatever they call it? Do you remember who was that?
Probably Leanne.
Yeah, Lee Miles. Yes.
Lee Miles.
Was it Leanne or Lee Miles? But I think Lee Miles comes to my mind.
Lee was here the other day.
Yeah, he's still obviously a close friend of Linda's and yours. So you got married on the front grass and the house we're still here today in Hammersley.
And you were actually in your uniform.
No, I wasn't. That's a separate photo. But
was it?
But what were you going to say about me being in charge of the bar? I wasn't even leaving. What did I do? And Ted blew up.
Ted blew up, did he? I have no idea.
So you're right, and I had forgotten about that. I had been said, well, you look after the bar, and I'm thinking, I didn't even know what a bar is, but anyway, and I put ice in you must have had carafes of wine or something, and I put ice in the carafes, and Ted's blowing up. What are you doing putting ice in the wine or something, or watering it down? And so... Yeah, I mean, as you said, Linda came into the family and took on not only you, and you were still travelling heavily at that stage because you were off.
Must have been Peter as well behind the bar.
Oh, probably, and God knows what we were doing.
Because Adam was more or less in the pool all the time.
Yeah, he was. In '81, he was only 7 or 8 or something.
But it worked out fine.
And this is where I'm coming to. You got to take your hat off to Linda, as we do. That you obviously were still travelling, and off you go, and Linda.
Yeah,
probably waved you off the airport, came home, and there's us 3 boys. He's probably, what have I got myself into? It's a long way from squash and going out of lunches.
Yeah.
So full credit to Linda.
Absolutely.